race to win the race. Like it's on number second and third right now, so it's crazy out here.
True.
Yeah, but your work
Just
from
take
home
care
is
of
going
yourself,
on,
okay,
right?
everybody.
Yes,
Normally.
sir.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like after a long time, I'm seeing so many people all together. Like 6 months, 5, 6 months. I'm in my
Yes.
class. Yeah,
Yeah.
so for like, I like it's like going to be forever. So Vedantu has almost around like will be not be opening any office anymore.
Yeah, I believe so. Because
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Many offices
before
actually
Corona,
deployed.
we used to have like 8 offices in Bangalore. Right now we have
Mm-hmm.
like two offices. So we have close like 6 offices.
yeah. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
yes. Uh,
Going ahead, that
Good
can be a
afternoon,
mode
sir.
of
Good
operation.
VNC sir
afternoon.
has joined.
Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody.
Namaskar.
Thank you so much
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
for joining. Are we waiting for a few more minutes, right?
Yeah, but I believe principal ma'am we are waiting for.
I think Principal Ma'am is
She is.
in the other webinar organized by
Okay.
the first year.
She will join later, maybe.
So,
Okay. Then should we start? Avantika, all done.
Okay.
All okay. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. We'll start. We'll start then. Omlan sir will take.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I will stop presenting and we can start.
Yeah, sir has also joined. So I think by the time we'll complete the introduction on other.
Yes. Let us.
So, should I start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Respected emeritus,
Yes, Omlan. Yeah, please go ahead.
respected emeritus professors, Department of CSC, Professor B.N. Chatterjee, HOD of Department of CSC, Dr. Ananya Kanjilal, today's speaker, Mr. Saurabh Karmakar, dear colleagues, students, and all the participants, very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of Department of Computer Science and Engineering, B. Poddar Institute of Management and Technology, I, Omlan Raichaudhuri, welcome you all to the webinar on how to crack a product manager job post BTech. So today's speaker is Mr. Saurabh Karmakar. Let me introduce him. Saurabh Karmakar, alumni of VPMT CSE 2014 batch. Currently, he is the product lead at Vedantu, the live online tutoring platform for K-12 and JEE or NEET preparation. It's India's second biggest edtech startup and recently raised $100 million of funding. Saurabh builds products for growth and heads the new initiatives team at Vedantu. Before Vedantu, he was leading products at healthcare startup DocSap and vernacular startup Vocal. He is an entrepreneur and started his first company, SAS Lab, a cybersecurity firm during second year of college, which he sold in 2014. Post that launched Stupid App, a social gaming company that was acquired by Vocal for over $5 million in 2017. He is a growth and product consultant to multiple big startups like TikTok, IK, OnePlus, MTV Booth, etc. He is an angel investor and mentor startups in India and Southeast Asia to help them in product building and business scaling. So this is about our today's speaker, Saurabh Karmakar. Before
Omlan
going to
Principal Ma'am has
Saurabh,
joined. Principal Ma'am has joined.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
man.
Good afternoon.
So before going to Saurabh, may I now request our principal ma'am Professor Dr. Shutaba Mukherjee to say a few words. Ma'am, please.
Respected Emeritus Professor B.N. Chatterjee, other senior members, all the members of BPPIMT family, including faculty, staff, students, and alumni members, and the external participants. Warm good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this webinar, 2 days webinar session organized by CSE Department of BP Poddar Institute of Management and Technology. Today's speaker, Saurabh Karmakar, is an alumni of this institute of 2014 pass out batch. Today he will deliver a session on how to crack a product manager job. And tomorrow there will be a session by our alumni 2019 batch alumni, Rick Kumar Datta. He will give a lecture on machine learning. Okay, now already Amlan has given the introduction of Saurabh Karmakar. Presently, he is working as entrepreneur and product lead at Vedantu. But what I can still remember, when Saurabh was a student, from the beginning, he had an inclination and rather I should say a passion for entrepreneurship. And I can remember he had received a commissioner award for helping Kolkata police to solve the cybercrime, and also he had received Global Entrepreneur Award, as far as I remember. Nice to see you, Saurabh, after a long time.
Thank you, ma'am. Really honored. So much.
I think today he'll give some tips to the juniors, which surely will be beneficial. I wish the program a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you are well.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Okay, fine.
Thank you so much.
Okay, please continue.
Sure. So I'll spend my screen just to do all of it.
I would request Professor B.N. Chatterjee kindly to share his kind words with us. I think Amlan was coordinating, but unfortunately due to some network problem, I think he has left the session, as I can see. So I am chipping in between. So Saurabh, can we hear from Professor Chatterjee first?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
He always brings a lot of wisdom and knowledge in his talk,
Absolutely.
however small it is. So we are
Yes.
always so grateful to him for joining the session.
Respected Principal, Professor Shutaba Mukherjee, HOD, Professor Ananya Kanjilal, other faculty members, supporting and technical staffs, my dear students, and Saurabh. It is a very good thing to see your face again. When you were students, that time we used to hear a lot about you, particularly what the Principal Madam has told just now about your entrepreneurship activities, particularly for security aspect, which you have helped police and other. And we had a very lot of respect for you, all the faculty members and everybody.
Thank you, sir.
And therefore, it is a great pleasure to hear from you today. But today, we are slightly deviating from normal type. We are going to hear from you about how to become entrepreneur and what type of skill is needed, how we should motivate our students should orient themselves for this type of activity. Because from when I joined, I think in the year 2005, from there onward, I, along with Somnath, Rai Chaudhary and others, were telling our students that entrepreneurship is one of the very important aspects for everybody, particularly for engineers. And therefore, this is going to add your input, whatever input you are going to give is going to add a lot of value to our students and others, those who are listening. With these few words, I personally invite, along with our principal and Ananya, to deliver your talk, for which people are eagerly waiting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Really honored, sir.
Thank you so much. Saurabh, you can, while you are preparing to present your screen, I would take this opportunity to thank everyone who was associated, who have been associated to organize this webinar. Of course, my heartfelt thanks to the organizational management, Shutapa ma'am, registrar and everyone in the management. And special thanks to Professor Chatterjee, who always encourages and is always supportive of these kinds of activities. To Omlan Rai Chaudhary, who has been coordinating this. He has been coordinating with you. You had reached up to him, and of course to you. Big thanks to you, to all the participants, to all the students who have joined today. A big thanks to you. And without further delay, just I want to add one more thing which wasn't mentioned about you. There are so many things to be mentioned. So you have actually, Saurabh has his name on India's top 10 underage CEOs. There's a book on the top 10 underage CEOs, and Saurabh is one of them. So there are so many feathers to his cap, and to name a few, he was always brimming with ideas. With a very mischievous smile, I can see it's still there, with a twinkle in his eyes. It's still there. He came to my office many a times, not always for good reasons, some wrong reasons as well. But I'm always remembering you as an entrepreneur. So today, even if you are coming here as a Vedantu product lead, I would want you to see someday leading your own company, leading your own venture. I'm sure someday you will come back with us with that profile again. So
Sure.
Without much further delay, please go on. And students, please make it a point to take this opportunity, because this is a very rare opportunity to interact with him and to understand how you can grab an opportunity as a product lead, as an entrepreneur, post your BTech, just immediately after BTech. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Honored for your introduction. Thank you. So just give me a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it's
sir.
visible.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, respected teachers, faculties, everyone. And I'm really honored to come back again. Feel like college days again. It has been a long journey. So almost like 6 and 7 years I've been passed out, but it still feels the same. And today's session is more not about just cracking the job perspective, but the whole agenda of this seminar is to give you this context of this new career option for everyone, because previously product management job mostly has been considered by someone who's passing out of MBA, but now the field has been expanded in such horizons that anyone coming from any kind of a domain like BCA, MCA, BTech, anyone with a good skill set in terms of a first principle thinkers, they can apply for this job, and it's really a vast opportunity in terms of a career growth. So the whole agenda of this seminar will be to take you through how what is the nitty-gritties of this particular job role, how to apply for it, what is the interview process, and what you can expect from the from in your career as a product manager in any particular company. So I'll go through a very short introduction. I'll brief about my background. So I started my I joined BPPMT in 2014 in computer science. From there, I started my first company in second year, which is a cyber security firm, SaaS Lab. Then going ahead, I've sold that company, went into Singapore, launched few social gaming companies, but one of them was Stupid App. Stupid App got viral. It got acquired by a company called Vocal in 2018. Post that, I have joined as a product manager for Vocal to look after the platform and growth. And then going ahead in the healthcare sector, I've been into senior product management for labs and medicine department for the mostly for the tier 2 and tier 3 of Indian audience. And currently, I'm leading growth early childhood segment, mostly for class 1 to 5, the new initiative for international market at Vedantu. Along with that, I also work with multiple startups and mostly help companies at the early stage to help them with the growth and any kind of a business scaling that they need. For the session, I have set up an agenda from in this particular manner. You will learn what is the product management, what a normal product manager do in day-to-day lives, what are the tools and frameworks you need to learn or you will learn in your job career timeline. Few industry example I'll show you. What is the career growth opportunities? What is the interview process? A few case to give you a real life example how it will look like, and then we'll have a brief FAQ session. Just to set the context right, the whole session will not talk about the vast extensive in and out of the product management, because that's something I cannot cover or no one can cover in just a 1 hour session. So I'll try to keep it very short and simple. But yeah, we'll have a brief FAQ session. So any question that you have in your mind or anything you want to know from the session itself, just throw me the questions during the FAQ session. Okay, so let's start. So product management or product manager, before going ahead to learn what you will normally do, you need to first understand what you will not do ever in your life as a product manager. So among that, I have break up into 4 different segments. First, you will never write code. So that's on the engineering part. You will never do designing. You will never do business deals or sign deals, which is business development. And you will never do any marketing, mostly PRs, communication, and all the marketing strategy. So you will not do any of this thing in your career ever. But what you will do? So as Orna ma'am was speaking that this is a good opportunity for you to ask me question and learn from this particular career path. That is the most crucial thing to become a successful product manager. You need to learn and open up about asking question. The more you ask question, the more you know the right questions to ask, the more better you become at your job. So as a product manager, these are the 5 things normally or generally any kind of a category or companies will look for in a product manager. First one is discover what a user needs. So I'll give you an example. So whenever you talk about product, anything that you use in day-to-day life, even the Hangout Meet that you're using right now, it is a product. The browser you're using, that's a product. The Swiggy you use for ordering or the Uber or Ola you use to travel from one place to one, it's all things are product. And that's the customers are asking for a particular need, which product manager listen, understand the need, and then they build on top of it. So you need to understand what a user needs specifically. Then the second quality of a product manager or things you need to do is prioritize. So normally what happens in day-to-day life, whatever you learn, even for your semester preparation, there are multiple subjects, multiple sections that you need to do, from MCQs to your group C that you normally used to say, okay, the group C 3 question to karna hi padega. So those sections when you're preparing, it's always about prioritization, like which chapter to prioritize first, because that's a very important part. So that's something you need to do and learn it as a product manager too. You need to understand how to do prioritization. You will have so many things because there are so many users asking, I need this, I need that. But you as a product manager need to learn how to do prioritization to figure out what feature or function to be built or not to be built. Then you need to walk around with your team to go around a roadmap or a timeline to build that particular function. Once you build that, now it's time to deliver the feature to end user or end customer. And once you do that, you need to champion the team. What the champion the team means is that as a product manager, there is no specific role for you. You need to talk to customer as a customer support. You need to sell them as a salesman. You need to build something as a product manager. You need to understand how they're behaving as a UX engineer too. So those are multiple things, multiple hats you need to wear to actually champion the team and become a good product manager. So that's the whole overall career aspects of a product manager in any company that you will join. So what is a product? So product, if I say in a single line, it's something, if you need something and it's being built, then it's a product. It has to have a need for it. So from Uber, Hangout, Zoom, iPhone, Swiggy that I've talked about, everything that you use to give you a help or solving a need or desire, that's a product in your life that you're going to build as a product manager. That's a very good article in Wall Street Journal. If you go on online and search product manager in Wall Street Journal. So Wall Street Journal has said last year, like the product manager or PM of sort is the MBA graduate's dream job, and it really is. The more we go ahead in the session and I talk about details about this particular role, you will understand why Wall Street Journal is saying that. But to understand why, it's because there are multiple aspects to it to understand the demand of this particular job, because normally people tends to confuse it as a project manager job. So there's a huge difference between a project manager and a product manager. Project manager jobs are mostly aligned with the business needs, and they try to deliver the project whatever they are giving in a normally a B2B company. Instead of the products managers are like mini CEOs of the company. You get to talk to customer, you need to understand what the markets need, you do the research, planning, launching the product, testing the product, working with engineers to build the product, and then finally you take the whole end result or the end product to a hand of a into a hand of a customer that are asking for this particular feature or function. So you become the mini CEO of the whole thing. You decide how it will look like, how it will behave, how it will perform. So that's why it's in high demand for every company. And from companies like Swiggy to Amazon to Flipkart, everywhere you go you will see multiple product roles opening, and that is the reason. Even if you're joining as a product manager at Amazon or Flipkart, there are like 50 product managers working to make a Amazon Freedom Sale successful or a Flipkart Big Billion Day. So that's how the whole demand and like the job importance in a particular organization role varies from product managers, from like starting as a freshers to a different large scale executive level. Okay, so I'll talk about what a product manager's day-to-day job like. So say for example, you got a job, you join a company. So these are the 5 steps of your whole career or day-to-day or monthly works will look like. So as a product manager, say for example, you need to build a new iPhone. Say you're joining OnePlus as a company, you need to build a new phone for a OnePlus. So these are the 5 things you normally will do as a product manager at OnePlus. So first you will understand why you need to build a new phone, how you're going to build a new phone, and what you need to be built. Like its phone need to be have specifications. So you need to define what, why, and how of this particular product to understand the problem in depth. Then you do research. So once you know, okay, this is what I'm trying to build, let me do a research on the competition side, on the market, and what is the scope, like what can be the price, what features, functionalities I need to be built on this particular price point, what other are doing in this market, what other competition have as a device in the market. So those are the research part. Once you do the research, then comes the hypothesis, and that's a very crucial part. The more experience you gain, the more hypothesis, the good hypothesis you'll start building. So hypothesis is basically stating like it's a statement. So I'll say I'll build a phone under 10,000 rupees, which has like Snapdragon 867 processor, but camera has to have 20 megapixel camera, then the phone will sell. Doesn't matter the processor, if I put up a 20 megapixel front camera or back camera, the phone will sell. That's a hypothesis. So you need to build around this hypothesis that if I do this, this will be the outcome. If I'm doing this, this will be the outcome. So those are the hypotheses. Product managers take a call. And on top of the hypothesis, you go ahead with the design and development team to build the end product. Now comes the 5th step, which is the final step to prove if your hypothesis is right or wrong. So now you launch a phone. You collect data from the market and you analyze whether the phone is selling or not, whether the metrics that you have defined, like at this rate or monthly I'll sell this amount of phone, or from this state I'll get that amount of revenue. So you collect the data, you analyze the data, and then you go ahead and seek, okay, this I have created this 5 hypotheses, 3 are right, 2 are wrong. So you go back to number step 1 and repeat everything to make that 2 hypotheses correct, or you can create new hypothesis 2 around for this particular failure that you have gone through the 2. But one major thing in product management, there is nothing as everything right. You cannot go ahead and say this hypothesis is right. No one can do it, even not even me or anyone. So all hypothesis is always something you build the product upon. But the crucial part is the 5th one, where you analyze the data and see if the hypothesis is right or wrong. And that is going to be your job. You build hypothesis, you create a product, and you see if it's right or wrong. If it's right, you get a success. If it's wrong, you go back and rebuild. But there is no backslash or anything wrong in going wrong. Multiple times there, I'll tell you some example that I have built some features that made company lost 5 lakhs rupees a day. But it doesn't matter. It's always learning in companies when you are a product manager job role. So that's a good part of the whole job, that you can make mistake. I'll talk about few softwares that define your product career. Normally, these are the 5 different domain of software that you need to learn or you will learn in your whole career growth. First one is a documentation. So documentation is a very crucial part. I hope you must have used Jira in your in your course, but Jira and Confluence is your day-to-day software that you're going to learn and use every day in any company that you join. Then there's a Notion and Asana for documentation. There is the wireframing that product managers usually do. For that, you have softwares like Balsamiq, Sketch, Figma. There are a few analytical tools that you need to learn, not necessarily right now, but you need to know the name, because when you're going into an interview, there is a slight chance that the interviewer will ask you if you have heard of this software tools or not, because some company is going to use any of them. So you might need to know the names and how things are looks like inside the particular software. So for product analytics, these are the 4 major that normally used by companies: Amplitude, Segment, Mixpanel, and Firebase. For marketing analytics, normally divided into CleverTap, MoEngage, AppsFlyer, and Branch.io. And then to run query or running SQL queries to understand how the data or user is behaving inside the product, you need to go ahead with BigQuery by Google, Metabase, Redash. So these are free software which works along or integrate with your DB and then gives you an user interface to run SQL queries to see the funnels and data. So these are the softwares you need to learn. Okay, going ahead, we've talked about the softwares. We'll talk about the skills, that the 4 major skills that required you to be prepared with or you'll be learning in your whole career growth. First one is a very, very important thing. And there is something you'll always say, like you cannot go ahead in your engineering job without maths or learning the basics of C, C++, Java. Same thing happens to the product management. Without knowing the A/B testing framework, you cannot success in your career. And that's a very crucial thing when I say A/B testing. A/B testing is that particular bloodline you need to have it in your experience to ever become a successful product manager. So A/B testing is the first one. I'll go ahead and show you some example of A/B testing. Then you need to learn how to create event structuring and funneling to see data. Now, when I talk about event structure and funneling, it means if I'm going to a site like Flipkart, the whole journey looks like this. You land on a Flipkart website. There will be some products listed on the homepage, or you might be looking for some particular product that you can go to search box. You type about, say, I want to buy a new laptop. So you type a laptop. Flipkart shows you on different algorithms, different results from different brands, pricing, processor, configurations, and all. You might scroll, you might find a particular product, then you click on that product. Then you go and see the description of the product. Then you look for the reviews, ratings. Then if you choose to buy the product, you click on buy now or add to cart. You move to a cart page. You click on the cart page on buy now button. Then you land to a payment page. Then you go to a payment gateway, make the payment, and then you get a successful message that payment is success and the product will be shipped to you. So in this whole journey, I have talked about like 6 to 7 steps. All these steps are known as funnel. And as a product manager, it's your job to define those funnel. So search is first step, then browsing the category of the products that you're getting into, then cart page, then payment gateway, then the success message. So you need to understand this particular funnels. And the more you create those funnel and you go deep into it, you will see 100 people are searching for laptop, only 60 people are going and browsing those laptop in the search result. Then only 30 people will be going into cart page. Then only 20 people will be going into the payment page. Then only 5 people will be making the payment. So you need to understand where this percentage drop is happening, and you create hypothesis why the drop is happening. The more you go deep understanding, you create more deeper hypothesis. Okay, this might be the reason. Maybe the right product is not being showcased. If the product pictures or the laptop pictures are not good, maybe the reviews are wrong, or the reviews, the way I'm showing the reviews are wrong. So that's how the whole funnel and event structuring thing works in product management. Then comes the communication and management part. Because product managers works with leadership or executive team, design team, QA testing team, engineering team, business team, market team, and sales and ops team. So you need to learn how to do a crisp and clear communication and managing all this multiple cross-functional team in your, even if you're joining as fresher, this will be thrown at you. So it's this nothing something to be scared of. The more you go ahead, the more you learn how to do it. But always try to prepare how to clearly communicate what you're trying to build, why you're trying to build, and what will be the outcome. You'll be good to go. And the last and most important thing is OKR framework. So OKR is objective key result, and this is something I'll tell everyone to go back and look on Google what is OKR is. OKR is something is a very successful framework created by John Doerr of Intel. So this framework talks about how to achieve anything in life with a strict a strict manner, or if you say if I'll say it's a strict follow rule that you are going to use in everything. Even if I can tell you literally that if you're going to use OKR framework to get 8 point or 9 point in your semester, you can literally do that. So really go ahead and you can ask me questions about OKR framework. I'll give you a small example. So say for example, if I'm going to say that I want to get 9 pointer in my semester, so that's my objective of the O part of the OKR. Now I need to define KR, or the key result. So when you talk about I need to get 9 point in my semester, how are you going to achieve it? That you need to define in your KR. Like I need to be very strong in this particular subject. Then you go deep and say, okay, on this subject I need to go through this particular chapter. This particular chapters I need to get this amount of marks, or this is amount of time I need to spend. So you break it down everything based on first principle, and when you do that, you know exactly what are the 5 things you need to do to achieve that 9 pointer in your semester. That's OKR framework. It's a very simple term, but it's not simple. So you need to practice and need to learn how this framework to be built and work. So I'm just giving you an overall look like how OKR looks like, but you can go ahead and ask me question and I'll go deep into it in the session. So that's okay. Now talk about A/B testing. I'll give you an example. So I think most of us have used Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that. So I don't know if the screen is visible. I'll try to zoom it a little. It's not happening. Okay. So A/B testing means, as it suggests, that if you have 2 things, A and B, you need to test which one is a successful. So I have given you an example of, so if one company in the world who has mastered or champion A/B testing or A/B testing framework is Netflix. So Netflix know how to put up things without you even knowing that you are actually being tested, right? So example, in the below screenshot, I have given a screenshot of 15th April 2019. You see the same screenshot looking like same, but the red button over here, I don't think if it's visible or not, but I'll tell what is written over here. The first red button talks is written join Netflix. The second one is written join now. The third one is written try it now. The fourth one is written get Netflix. So from outside, or if you look at first glance, it looks like very similar to you. So right now, if I want, I can put one first screenshot to India, second one to say Nepal, third one to Europe, Australia, or someone in say New Zealand. So I put 4 different skin into 4 different countries, or I can also put the 4 different skin into same country, say India. So in India, by the A/B testing framework, 4 different people or a group of people will see 4 different screenshots with 4 different buttons. Now what A/B testing talks about, that keeping the whole scenario same, not changing any value to it, you just change that outcome that you want to do. So for Netflix, the major outcome is the number of people sign up or join Netflix to see the movies or series inside the app. So what they do is they try to play the subconscious mind how they're going to present that sign up button. So they have shown someone to get Netflix, someone has tried now, someone join now, and someone join Netflix. But at the end, say for example, they have shown the first one 200, second one also 200, third one 200, fourth one 200. At the end of a week or a month, when they see the data, so here the date is 25th of April. So they did an experiment for 10 days from 15th to 25th of April. They see that if you show the button as try it now, that has more conversion rate, or the more number of people join Netflix instead of showing this other 3. The moment you get a result, okay, this is what working, then you take that cohort, or sorry, the segment, and you roll out to 100% of your user. So say for example, Netflix have 1 million user base. They did the experiment to say 1 lakh user, 20 or 25. Now they see that variant C or the variant third is a successful one, which increases the conversion rate. So they roll out this whole thing to 1 million user. That's how A/B testing works in a simple term, if I show you in terms of example. Then I'll go ahead and talk about the second important framework in your life that going to be a very important part of ARR, which is acquisition, activation, retention, referral, revenue. When I give an example of this framework, you will get to know how this framework has impacted everyone's life. So any big company in terms of a B2C, whether it's Google, Facebook, Uber, TikTok, anyone you talk about, even Myntra, they use this framework. No single B2C company cannot be successful without this framework. Mark my words on this particular thing and really listen to it, how this works. So ARR framework talks about 5 different steps of a user's journey. First one is acquisition, second one is activation, third one is retention, referral, revenue. So if you follow and learn this framework, you can make any product almost successful to a great success product based on how you're taking action into each step. So I'll take example of Uber. So for Uber, acquisition step means how many people are downloading the application. So say 100 people join that application. So that's acquisition for them. Activation is the factor which defines how successful your product is going to be and who are going to be a loyal user. So for Uber, if you install the application, that doesn't mean anything unless and until you actually book your first ride. So that's called activation. So that's why reason all this application for your first transaction try to lure you with rewards, cashbacks, and offers, because that activation, unless and until you book and cab through Uber, you never get to experience the application. So that's why Uber mentioned that activation is equal to booking their first cab ride. Okay, so that activation. Now the customers is activated. Second one is retention. That's the very important and very tricky part. Retention means I can install the Uber application. I can go from say from point A to point B in Calcutta by booking the first ride. Done. Then I'm never going to use application ever again, Uber. So that's a failed user or not a loyal user for Uber. So what Uber tries to do is they try to trigger retention metrics or retention step by using different tactics, showing you push notification that we have great cars, showing notification or sending you cashback offers through SMS that if you book your next ride through Uber, we'll give you 200 rupees off. So these are the triggers or psychological triggers that we as a product manager normally play around with customer to trigger them to do the action we want. And if you do it, my retention is successful because I know you as a customer is lured to cashback. So I try to play around that mindset. If you're more classy customer base, you might get triggered by good cars. If you're in hurry, I can say you can get from point A to point B in just 5 minutes, or you get a next car in 1 minute. So those are the trigger points you need to understand and see how the customer is behaving to each of them to make the retention funnel successful. So all major 3 is done: activation, acquisition, retention. Now comes the part where you're going to make money: referral and revenue. So referral means you need to make the retention funnel so strong that a customer who has never used Uber or have used Uber in last 6 months for one time, the successful retention funnel make the customer come back again and again every week. And they need to find out that how many times a customer coming back to an application creates a coefficient factor which makes the product sticky to a customer. The customer loves that product. Now, the moment you love a product, you will talk your friends or family member, okay, I am using Uber, you need to use the Uber. And that's how referral behavior kicks in. The moment you talk about the app, because of that retention funnel being successful, you are spreading my app to others without me spending any cost or any marketing budget. So that's how referral thing works. The more you do the referral, the more chances of my product to get hyper viral in terms of your network or your family and your friends network. The moment you go to it and now you're returning, now you're talking about the product, now you have become a loyal user. The moment any customer base comes into this category of loyal user base or a sticked customer base, I stop giving you any offer. And that's what happened to Uber and Ola right now. They see you don't get cashbacks, you don't get offers, because I know there's no other way around for you to go to any other option. So you stick to it. Now I start making money. Now I start putting surcharge. Now I start putting much more higher prices for going to long distances. Now I can increase the price. Now I make revenue. That's how Uber worked. And that's the model they have used across the whole world to become that billion-dollar company they are right now. Another small example is of TikTok. For TikTok, acquisition is same. You download the application, it's same for everyone. You need to find out through which channel. It might be Facebook ad, it might be Google ad, YouTube ad, anything that works. That's mostly marketing. Activation for TikTok is a little bit tricky, because in TikTok there is nothing as a transaction. You just swipe up to see videos. So right now we don't have TikTok, that's a different part. So in TikTok, when you're swiping those videos, you need to see data that this is 10% user base who are very loyal, and on an average, this 10% user base, on their first sign up or when they first join the application, they have on an average swiped 10 times. You have find out this data, you can easily do that. The moment you find the delta value, you know this is the minimum amount of swipe I need from each customer to activate them or to make them retain on the application. So that's how the TikTok activation works. The moment you do the 10th, now TikTok knows you're going to go ahead every day or every week and going to do much more swipes and retain on the application. So that's retention. Referral is same. If the recommendation engine is good, they will try to put up different type of recommendations engines algorithms to different cohorts of user and see which type of videos you like. Someone might like cooking video, someone might like music video, someone might like a movie trailer video, someone might like funny video. So based on your preferences, the algorithm adapt, and then they show the similar kind of videos. The more you see similar kind of videos that you like, you will start sharing those videos to your WhatsApp, to your Facebook friends, to in your network and all. So that's how referral kicks in. And if you do all the 4 steps, that means you stick to the application. For advertising, that's what matters. If you're sticking to the application and you're coming to watch free videos, I'm going to make money because I'm going to throw ad on your feed while you're scrolling. That's how the TikTok model becomes successful. So that's ARR framework. You can talk about any application in B2C and you apply this framework, you will see how this framework makes this company successful. But to understand this funnel, it might look like very easy, but you need to go really deep and see how the user are behaving each funnel to make it really successful. So that's the B2C AR for framework. Okay, I'll talk about the career growth journey about the product manager. So as fresher, normally there are 3 different roles that you can apply to. First one is a PA or product analyst role. So in the product analyst role, you normally do analysis, create funnels. You need to have a basics of SQL, because without SQL you cannot be a product manager, because you need to learn the basics of SQL, how it works. So I really focus on your DBMS classes and understand how data structure a little bit works. It's really going to help you as a product manager. So product analyst or product APM, I'll say, which is an associate product manager level. So that's normally how a fresher is going to get a job in a company. In some company, associate product manager and product manager is no differentiation. So in some company, you might directly get to apply at a product manager level. So these are the 3 things which you can get with a 0 experience or just out of college. I'll talk about in more detail in this particular roles. Then once you have a 1 to 2 years experience, you land into a senior product manager role. And that's normally average of 2 to 3 years at max for any company. Once you reach to that particular level, then you go to more experienced roles. So the more experienced roles start with an AVP or associate vice president of product or product lead. Then you go to director or VP level, and then finally, as an end, is a chief product officer in your own company if you're doing a startup, or if you're joining a company at like 6 to 7 years minimum experience. So that's how your career growth will look like in the product manager role, in normally across the world, not the same. So it's something I have taken from Glassdoor. So it's valid for Google, Facebook, Amazon, Swiggy, Flipkart, Vedantu, Unacademy, any company you talk about in India or outside, it's the same trajectory that you get. Okay, so interesting and most important part, how you know what are things to do, how things look like, what is your career growth. Now how you're going to get into an interview round and what are the interview rounds look like. So there are different aspects to it. not necessarily it's always the same, but it will be around this particular 4 parameter or 4 round that I'll talk about. And this is valid for product manager, associate product manager, and product analyst role. Once you cross product manager level, the rounds will change completely, because then senior product manager level mostly talks about how to manage a team, how to lead a team. It's not about nitty-gritty of how you build product. So I'll talk about this 4th thing. Before going into that, you need to understand what HR, or if you're applying to any company, what are the things that they are trying to assess before making you a successful product, before allowing you to join their company. So 4th thing, first one is the user empathy, communication, creativity, and judgment. So the more I go into deep into this 4 particular round, you will understand what I'm talking about. So first round for any role that you apply to will be your analytics and guesstimation round. You're not going anywhere without this. This will be your first round of any company. They will check your analytical skill set and how efficient you are with data. I'll show you some example to it. Then you go and understand. The second round will be on user behavior and design, to check mostly your creativity, how you understand the user journeys, how you approach a problem as an user. The third one will be product round, which is mostly to see, mostly will be puzzles, understanding how you do planning, how you strategize something if you are thrown into something unknown. And then it will be a very simple technical round. When I say simple, it's very simple. They will ask how API works, what are the different types of API, what is the difference between get and post method, how the cron jobs are built, how AWS works, different instances, postman systems. So they are going to do a very simple technical rounds on top of it, not to like very too much deep into any technical or coding basis. Okay, first round will be the data and guesstimation. So I'm sharing what are the normal questions I ask in my interviews to my candidates for APM or product manager role. So some questions will look like this: get how many Indian domestic flights are right now on the sky right now? Or someone might ask that if you're from Calcutta, how many flights are flying above Calcutta right now? So that's a guesstimation question. Someone, I think one of my favorite question is something like how many people watch Hindi debate on a news channel in a TV right now. Then I might ask how to create a funnel for Flipkart fashion category. I have given an answer for the laptop example that I give you, the same thing that how you build the funnels. Then what is p-value? So p-value is something you need to learn for making a A/B testing successful. So that's something. To crack this particular round, I have broken down the approach to it. First, you need to ask as many questions as possible, as I told earlier too, that when you are asking that how many people watch Hindi news debate on TV every day, you might ask me question whether you're talking about urban areas or rural areas, whether you're talking about any particular time of our time, like in the morning time or in the afternoon or night time. So you need to ask question to clear. The more you ask question, the more pointers you get to solve that particular query. Once you know what you're going to solve it, then you outline an approach. So I'll give you an example for a question like how many people watch Hindi debate on TV every day. First you say okay, how many like what is the total population of India? Then you break it down into an age, because so there are some certain assumptions you need to learn and do. Like you cannot go in an interview and you don't know what is the India's population, or you cannot like be clueless about that India is a very younger age country. So you need to define those things in your mind, predefined, so that you go to an interview and you know your basics. So as India is a young country, you can define, okay, 60% is young, 40% is mid to old age. So once you have a 1 billion, say a number to 100 population, you take 40% as a people who normally in the mid or old age category. Now you need to figure out how many people are Hindi speaking. Then you say how is the percentage of Indians who might have TV. Then you drop down from top to bottom approach and you create an outline to your interviewer. Once you create an outline, then you break down components, like as I talk about speaking Hindi, have TV, have that affinity to watch a news channel. And once you do that, you will get a ballpark number and you do a sanity check. Now, if something India has if you say that India has 1 billion people and then you say okay, 500 million is watching, your end number comes into 500 million, that's an absurd number. So you cannot talk about. So sanity check is very important. It needs to be a ballpark. If the end answer is 50 million, you can say 80. You can say 40, but you cannot say 500. So that's a sanity check you need to do for data and guesstimation round. Second round is a design and user behavior round. Here they normally put a creative thought process, like how you're going to think about the problem statement. So very good examples like how you will design a map for blind people. That's a very interesting question most of the companies ask. Even for Google, they ask this question. Then what's your favorite app in your phone and why? Design a complete new Gmail application. So these are the design and behavior questions that you get in your interview. For the same thing, you define the user for whom you're building the problem statement. Like if you're building a new Gmail app, you need to understand why you need a new Gmail app, what purpose is going to solve, for whom it's going to solve, what are the key functionalities it need to be built on, what are the major functionality or errors or missing things in Gmail app. So that's how you go ahead and build it. Then you create problem statement and goals. And once you know what are the problems and what are the things you need to solve, then you can just do a rough design and wrap up the interview round. So that's the second round. And product round is basically just to check how you're going to think through it, problem statement, not to get exact answer, but how you approach to it. So some different categorization I have made. So something like prioritization, to understand how you do prioritize. So someone might ask that if you are the product manager for seller side of Amazon, and people are leaving the platform, say there are 100 people have left in the platform last month. So you as a product manager has been assigned a task that you need to bring those 100 people back without burning any money. So you need to find out a solution, understanding deep into problem, and then you do prioritization. Okay, I'll do this, so I'll bring this customer base. So that's a prioritization question. Someone might ask that if you're the product manager for Ola, now people normally book at 30 rupees Ola Auto, but you as a product manager need to do something, some magic, that people stop booking auto, instead they start booking Ola Mini or Ola Micro. So that's a product management question. Someone might ask that if 100 people install Facebook, only 60% creates an account. You need to increase it to 85%. How will you do it? Or some growth questions like increase revenue of Swiggy by 10%. So these are basics of product round. Normally questions will be like that, but this is something comes into a product manager level, not APM associate product manager or product analyst level. Few important things before the interview. Please brush up the basics of SQL. You will be asked SQL questions, so the basic things that you need to learn, please go through them and get a clear idea so that it's not become a very surprise for you in an interview round. So basics of technology, guesstimation. Guesstimation is something you need to practice. So you can go to Medium and Google and search for guesstimation question. You'll get a lot. So it's an approach. It's not something a rule or formula. The more you practice, the more you get good at guesstimations. Then few frameworks that need to learn about them. One is Porter's 5 forces or 4 P's of marketing, SWOT analysis, ARR framework. These are the frameworks you can go and see how this thing works. It will help you in interview. That's it. And you can go to Medium and run some terminologies and blog posts about product. So some terminologies you might heard in an interview, like what is DAU, MAU, so daily active users, monthly active users, how you calculate a daily active user by monthly active users, what is CAC or customer acquisition cost. So these are the terms. If you go to Medium and search about different terminologies, you'll get familiar with them. That's it. Nothing rocket science into it. There is a thing called product manager paradox that I have created. Once you become a product manager, you get to sense that as you are taking the calls and shot and you know how things works in product manager's life, you become very blindsided and you start taking calls which you should not. And one of the major things is that never try to build anything that you think is right. Even it's applied for if you're going to become an entrepreneur or startup. Don't build a startup or product or something that you feel is right. That's a big mistake a product managers and entrepreneurs normally do in their life. I have did it like hard way. So I'm giving you the example. Always talk to customer, always do survey, always ask people if they need it, if they're going to pay for it. If you're building a product, it takes like 20% of your time, 80% of your time goes into research and talking to customer. If you do diligently that 80%, you're going to be successful in your 20%. So that's something you need to really adopt and learn. Second one is credit, because it's a cross-functional job. So you need to learn where to give credits to your teammates where they are necessary. And third one is don't expect your team to execute blindly, because people tend to go overpower as a team lead. Or if you're a product manager, you say, okay, I'm the product manager, whatever I'll say, they will do it. They don't. It's a collaborative job. So you need to justify, even if you're doing something, you justify to your team why you're doing it, why it's necessary to build it, what problem statement is going to solve. So that's something you need to do. And second thing, once you release something, say you're building OnePlus phone, you release the phone, you don't stop there. You see data, you see how people are reacting to it. Normally people go and see how the YouTube reviews, YouTubers are giving reviews. So you see what people are talking about product, and then you iterate and build better versions of it. Because then that's why reason you have V1 to V3 and different versions you see on Play Store apps, because it's a continuous process as a product manager to make it a better product than the previous version. Okay, case study. I'll come to later part. Before that, one book I wanted to recommend, that this particular one book, it's like a holy Bible to cracking a product manager interview in any company. I can give you real life example that people cracking Facebook interviews through reading this particular book. So if you're noting down, please note down this book by Jackie Bavaro. This book is a holy grail of product managers, and if you want to learn end-to-end about how to crack a product manager, which is not possible in 1 hour session, so I recommend you to go through this book if you're really interested. And one tip that I wanted to give you, that whatever I talked about you and whatever you learned in your life before going into interview, if you forget everything, take a scenario that if you forget everything, estimation, everything you forgot, okay, remember this particular 3 points, you will become a successful product manager and also crack an interview. Whenever you are asked a question in an interview, always think, if you are the user or if you are the end user who are going to use that product, what will be your answer? Just focus on that thing. Focus as an user. If you are the user, what you're going to do. Structure your response. First, take 2 or 3 minutes time. If you see interviews, mock interviews on YouTube, you will always see the people who are giving interviews, they always say, can you give me 2 to 3 minutes to think through it? Always take time. Understand the problem, create your whole answer, structure it, and then give a response. Don't jump into response immediately. Never ever do that. That's a very big learning. Always structure first, then you go and give a response and ask question. Anything that creating doubt, or if you're getting 2 options that you don't know which one to choose, always ask question. As a product manager, when interviewers are just trying to see your approach, the more you ask question, the more clarity you get, and that's what the interviewer is looking to see. That okay, these guys know the asking the right question, and he know how to structure his response. So that's it. Okay, and the final one, I'll take just 2 minutes of time, 2 to 3 minutes, to give you a case study. Like at Vedantu, so we have built a quiz feature for K-12 or student in class, mostly for 6 to 12, how we have built a quiz feature and how things works at a growth stage. So when you're building, so say for example, I'm building a quiz feature for K-12 segment, it's completely different, because quiz as a concept is a very interesting thing, but it's not very sticky as a product, because at our age, we normally play it for fun and then I leave it. But this product for K-12, I need to make it very successful. So what it did was, we need to understand how quiz works in the school segment. We have talked to multiple school students. We have talked to multiple companies who run quizzes in schools, and understand what are the interesting factors and what is the form factors or deltas I need to look to build a quiz feature into a segment. That we understood that academics questions has a very bad retention for students. Student doesn't like, if it's a fun game of quiz, you cannot ask the same question about history, geography, math that they're learning. It needs to be a trivia. It needs to be something day to day they're watching on TV or smartphone or something they have heard of. So that becomes the interesting, because the psychology talks, if you talk about something they have already heard of or they have been in touch of, and they can't remember in a high-paced real-time quiz game, it creates an adrenaline rush. Oh shit, what the answer is, and that makes them sticking. That makes the sticking. Okay, what's the answer? What's the answer? Why I don't know? Okay, so many people knew it, but I didn't know it. So that's create that triggers. So those are the things you learn from data and doing thorough research. So once we find out that okay, I'm going to do a game every day from say 10 questions every day on real-time specific, we did an adrenaline rush phase by putting a timer. So each time you get a question, you get a timer of 10 seconds. You need to answer all of the students need to answer in 10-second time. If you're giving a right option, you move to the next question. If you're wrong, you just get eliminated. And then there is a catch. So to create the detention, I cannot throw student every time, because there will be a chunk of student who might not know the answer, and every day they're going to get eliminated, and then they will get frustrated and uninstall the application. So what we did was, I knew, okay, if I give them another option or another chance, so they are going to use the application with that hope that, okay, I might get successful next time. So what we did was, we introduced a life or extra life option. So every time you give a wrong option, you can use your one extra life to get another chance to play or continue the game. So when you're doing that, you know that there's a retention process. If I give them life, they will keep coming back. But if I give them unlimited lives, they'll keep coming back, but the referral system or the ARR framework, the referral system will never kick in. So what we did was, we restricted the number of lives that we can give them. So like 3 lives in their whole lifetime. Now they exhaust that thing. 3 days, 3 wrong answer, they come back even from 4th, 5th, 6th day, they don't have any extra life, so they will not going to come back. So what we did was, we introduced referral. The more referral you do to your friends, school friends, and if they join through your link, for each successful referral, you and your friend earn 1 extra life. So I give them what they need, and in return, what we get free referrals without burning any money, and that creates a chain. That's how 100 people bring 5,000 user or 6,000, 10,000 user base, because that's kicking the referral system. Once I'm becoming successful of this life and referral system, now I need to create a revenue. For revenue, if you see, I have written key objective is growth. So some products drive for revenue, some products drive for growth. So for us, it was primarily that if every day 5,000 is people are playing, how I'm going to take it to 50,000 or 5 lakh user. So what we did was, we made sure that everyday people, some people will lose, some people will win, and the losing people will come back again and again with the hope that they will win. And for that, we made sure in the 10th question, at the 3rd level or at the 7th level, we put up so hard questions that people always get eliminated. That we made sure that people get eliminated. And the moment you get eliminated, even if you're using live at 3rd, you cannot use it at 7th. Okay. So what we did was, you got eliminated at 3rd, you played to 7th, you again get eliminated. We never let you go out of the game. We make you feel like it's a live show, and you keep seeing that game till the 10th question. And what happens, because your friends are also playing, you see them winning at the 10th question. And when you see that, there's a leadership board, and you say, oh shit, my batchmate has got into leadership board at 3rd position, and I'm not losing. I need to refer, I need to earn, and I need to fight back again to beat him. And that's how the growth chain looks in. So it's not in detail, but I'll give you idea how I built a product feature, or what we did in a quiz feature for K-12 segment, and that's how overall it looked like. Any questions that you have, we can go ahead and ask. So that will be all from my side. I hope I have cleared some ideas, and I'm looking forward to a Q&A session. You can ask questions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
I think, Saurabh, you can take some questions now?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone has a question, they can
I think
ask or put it on the chat, and I'll convey it.
Yeah, participants, can you write it in the chat? Or, yeah, that will be better. If you write it in the chat, Avantika can take it up and pose it to Saurabh.
Hello, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, excellent. Excellent. I have just
No questions?
by your lecture. No questions. Questions from the students, because
No questions?
I have already told in the meeting details that those who can do it, and those who can't goes to teaching. So I am in the teaching. Saurabh can do it, so Saurabh can So
Yes, sir, absolutely. This is
yes,
because of
that is what I said.
Are there any books for, I think, Avantika,
Yes.
you can take up the questions. There is one coming up in the chat.
Yeah,
I believe more will follow.
this question is from Sambit Sarkar. He asked, Are there any other books for product management interviews which you recommend?
There are multiple, but this one that I have shared about the David Gore is a cracking the PM interview. Is a holy, you get everything into it. But others, if you want, you can go to Medium blogs and search for product interview processes. You'll get so many real life example from people at Google and Facebook and see how things work. So there is nothing as such of single book, but if it's a single book I need to recommend, that's the one.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else has any question? This was a very informative session. It's quite out of the box. People should have questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is different.
Avantika, you can ask question also.
I mean, I definitely have
Shourav,
any doubt.
just
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, Shourav, just a thought. I don't know, like people might be having a preconception that since you are an entrepreneur, you are talking about only entrepreneurial kind of jobs. But as far as I understood, it's for any kind of product that we are building, right? So in
Any
the
kind of-
corporate,
Yes.
so in the corporate, even if you are not in a product company, even if you are in a service company, I believe you are answering some clients' questions. You are actually building something, even if it is.
Yes.
You mentioned that project management and product is different, but still, when you are doing a project for a client, you are ultimately delivering something. So,
Yes.
is that
So I'm
deliverable
coming-
a product, and can it be similar?
Yes, I'm coming to the point. So even if you're working for a company like Accenture or Infosys or TCS, there are right now roles of product managers. So what happens in that case, if now right now if you're working for a client, there are a nitty-gritty of building a product. The role sometimes not mentioned as a product manager role, but they do the same job because you need to talk to a client. So if CTS is working for a client like 7-Eleven, so 7-Eleven have a ERP solution or B2B product. It's not necessarily always B2C. So you need to understand what are going to be the flows of that ERP solution. Then you need to understand what are the test cases need to be built on, what are the functionality tests you need to build. So everything work around to build any B2B or SaaS product is a product manager job. The role or the name might be different, but work is going to be same. And the thought process and the work process that I have shared is going to be the similar thing. Whether you work for a Infosys company like Infosys or a startup like Amazon, so it's not more different to it. Yeah.
Great, thanks for responding to that, because I wanted my students to know that since many would be recruited by service companies, so it's not that this is not for us, it's only for the product company like Google, Amazon. No, it's not like that.
Absolutely
It's a
not. We are
software
seeing-
job, so understanding requirements is the primary thing. So
Yes,
any
absolutely.
questions from the students? You can ask any other question also. As a senior, Saurav is there. He has been in the
absolutely.
industry for 6 years now.
Yes.
So you can ask any questions to him. This is an opportunity to interact.
Yes, I'm not asking before anybody raising the question. I just congratulate Shourav, but what I think before Shourav joins it here, he knows the cyber hacking and everything. So recently I am building the teams of Atmanirbhar app and various hackathons. Whatever I found the lacking of our education system that Shourav has not followed, that she has already learned the things before joining it here. So if the some first year, second year, and third year there, the most essential thing is app building, whether it's the Android app or web app, whether iOS app. That is the basic things we require. That is, there is nowhere in the syllabus, in our, even Shourav mentioned SQL. Now the major thing is app building, the front-end development. Never it teaches in our course. It is in the final year, there's some issues on JavaScript, but in the foreign countries, the first semester, they are taught the JavaScript, HTML5. So this is a lot of anomalies. Who the students are there, it is very, nobody, how many people are there in Kotlin Expo? Recently we had a serious lecture session, but very few. But recently the various contests, you have to know the front-end developers, you have to know the back-end developers, but never it is in the syllabus. Shourav is done is what he's done, he learned everything, he's hacking and all this, he's self-learner. So you all have to be self-learner, and there are good courses. I think your impression Shourav on it, please, whatever I have talked.
Yeah, okay. So I would like to add to that point, sir, what you told. So at many people, it might look like that we don't teach those basics of industry skill set in college curriculum. But I think that's not something we can really say negative about, because the college curriculum has been built in such a way that it's generic and gives you overall in and out idea from the very early stage of the technology evolution that we had, and everyone get to understand how things are built, from operating system to microprocessor to data structure to algorithm, that need to be gone through. And if you talk about the latest technology, it's not something possible for colleges to teach, because not everyone is going to be a developer, not everyone going to be a product manager, not everyone is going to be in technology field. Everyone has their own passion, and if everyone is going through the basic architecture you need to become a good engineer, that is always there in college curriculum. But if you want to build something, I think not just me, everyone and many people I've seen, they go through out of the course curriculum and learn of themselves. And always faculties and everyone is there to help in any kind of a thing that you need to learn outside of the course curriculum. I don't think I have been any kind of a restriction in BP Poddar ever. So that's something I say. Yes, whatever you mentioned in terms of a front-end technology or back-end technology, everything is available online. But even if you're going to learn how to do a coding in Flutter technology or React Native, you need to learn how to do a coding in Java. Without the basics, you cannot build anything, any language, any technology, and that's something we cannot take out of it. Still now in technology, in a company like Vedanta or Amazon, they ask basics of algorithms. They ask to build basics of data structure, and that cannot be like a challenge or change from the course curriculum. Absolutely, yes, that thing. But yeah, if anyone
Beautifully addressed. Thanks.
Yeah, so they can
Okay,
go
I
ahead.
think a few more
Yeah.
questions. Avantika, can you take up the
Yes,
questions?
yes.
Shubhadeep, just
I think Sir is saying
to
something.
answer
Just like to mention that
great
Saurabh
answer.
was,
Just I want to,
Saurabh
but
was there.
still, in our Shubhadeep, just one minute. But here, still in the first semester, we have covered the programming.
Sir, can we
in
take the
WPC, in
questions,
Master.
please? Can we take the questions from the students, please?
Yeah. Just I'd like to mention one thing to Saurabh
Yes, sir.
and to
Yes, sir.
David. I do recollect one very important thing that you did after you became an alumni. You came for the Hackon 101.
Yes. Yeah.
And you were part
Exactly,
of
with the problem statement.
it. And
Yeah.
actually, let me be very honest with you. Do you recollect Rick? I think, Rick and then Shobhon. Rick
Yes,
and Shobhon. They
Yeah.
were part of that Hackon 101 that we hosted. And afterwards, SRC sir guided them, and they won the hackathon for the first time in 2015.
Absolutely.
So
Even
basically,
I'm
it's a journey that we enjoy. So I want to thank you really.
Absolutely.
Part of it. Yeah.
So the supporter is always there.
Okay. We'll go to questions now. Yeah. Any
sure.
Yeah.
questions?
Next
Yeah.
question is from Sharoni Das. She has asked two questions. I'll say them together. Sir, what basic technologies I should know for product manager job as a fresher? And is it beneficial to know front-end design, since you said product managers are also responsible for how the app looks and the funnel structure also, as you said?
Okay, sure. So I'll take the first part. To go into a product manager role as a fresher, the basic of SQL is very necessary. Along with that, go ahead and have something around in terms of data structure or basics of the C and Java is basically fine, but not necessarily. But say, for example, if you're going into a technological company or B2B company like Infosys or Wipro, is there a product manager role and you're going ahead with that role, you might need to go ahead with the basics of C and Java, and SQL. That will be fine in terms of technology. And content design, yeah. Not always all the product managers do design. When I talk about you are responsible to go ahead and finalize how the app will look like, I'll mostly look for wireframing, and that's something you draw on pen and paper. That's it. Not something front-end design. But if you do, you really become a good designer, product designer and product designer manager role. It's always beneficial if you know some about the front-end design, but not compulsory. But understanding the basics of data structures, DBMS and SQL is something you cannot overlook. You need to go through it in terms of technology.
Thank you, sir. I had a question myself.
Mhm.
So, apart from going out of the way to do like study for product manager job, are there any specific kind of internships we can apply to instead of technical internships?
Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah, sure.
benefit us.
you can do, most of the companies allow at their post third year, you can go ahead and do a product analyst internship. So most of the companies allow product interns, that they call. You can go, there are multiple openings at LinkedIn and other platform you can do, and I really appreciate you asking this question. It gives you a great idea about how this product, the product company or normal company works, and you get to have an end-to-end experience to it. So yeah, if you are going ahead post third year, you should go a 6-month internship or 3-month internship at any company that you can do. And that's open to all. It's not necessary you have to be an MBA, BC, or MCA. Anyone with a graduation degree, they are going with graduation post third year, you can go ahead and apply for that internship.
All right, because I used to think that they will prefer a business.
No. That limitation has been gone way too far. I'm not an MBA, so it doesn't matter. There are multiple people, even from BCA background, they have applied to product intern. As I told you, if you know the basics, you can apply to the product intern, and that's why the internship means you learn that work and other nitty-gritties of that particular job as an intern.
All right, thanks so much.
Thanks, Avantika.
Thanks. Does anyone else has any questions? If you could leave any contact via which anyone can contact you, because although I think
Yeah, sure.
right now it's difficult for people to see, but the kind of webinar you have presented is it's actually quite out of the blue, and it's quite useful.
That is actually what you are going to need going ahead. So you are
Yes,
going
exactly.
to start your placements, and the placement would be very different in this pandemic situation. It would be on digital platform, and
Yes.
the expectations from the companies would be different. The competition would be much more, because you will be clubbed with other
The whole-
colleges.
The
The
whole job
campus is
scenario,
out.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
The whole job scenario and everything has been changed. Previously, there's a good thing and bad thing, but I'll say the good thing is always there. The student has now a vast opportunity to go ahead at any direction. Those companies which require to shift you to a different location, different thing, now it's become easy for you to really go ahead and explore those
Absolutely.
opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So location is not a boundary, traveling is not a boundary, but again, the competition is far more. You're
Yes.
competing with much more candidates. Okay, so if there is no further questions, thank you so much, Shura, once more.
We put
We
everybody's
should have
camera
a
on.
round of applause and cameras on. Yeah, to take a snap, and then a round of applause for him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Shura.
Thank you, Saurabh.
Can we have our camera on, all the participants?
Please.
And if we can take a snap.
But Jaru, whenever the picture was taking step, I like to differ with Ananda ma'am. I think it is not a pandemic time. It's a new normal. The earlier normal will never come another 1 or 2 years. So this is a new normal. We have
Absolutely.
to
It won't come. New normal. Absolutely.
Yeah, new normal. And there is next 1 year.
Yeah, I think we have all embraced it quite positively. We are actively
Positively, yes.
exploring all the positives out of it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
because we have a less pollution. See, I see lots of pollution. That's how other diseases are less, because you are taking your homemade food, so you are much healthier now until unless you're COVID affected. But I think you have to adjust it. I think less travel for Tulsi ma'am. That's good. So this.
So we have the cameras on for all participants.
Yes. Unnecessary.
Few more are left, I think.
Yeah. So we should utilize it. And competition
Saurabh,
is.
stay
we
safe.
can work from here. Yeah.
Same to all of you.
Yeah, stay safe and take care of yourself. Keep on doing the wonderful work.
Yes.
Thank you.
You are working for the kids now. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all the
Thank you
participants.
once more.
For conducting this.
Thanks to all the participants. Yeah,
Thank
you.
please
Yes, all the
fill up the
participants.
feedback
Yes.
form. You will be
Sure.
getting your
And
certificates.
I have mentioned my email ID in the chat in case can you record. I'll share the deck with online in case.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank
Bye,
you.
sir.
And bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good
Thank
luck.
you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
stop the recording now, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.